we all know that fortunes can change in an instant. And we've seen this happen quite a few times, over and over, just in the past few weeks, with some of the most powerful people in media and politics and culture being stripped of their jobs with accusations of sexual assault against them. We also know how quickly fortunes can change in our own lives after the loss of a job, financial insecurity, after a fall, or maybe a terrible diagnosis. And none of our biblical figures have as many dramatic reversals as the hero of our Parshat Mikeitz, Joseph. Just a quick thumbnail sketch. He lost his mother as just a very young child, but he was the favorite of his father. He was thrown in a pit and left to die, but then he was spared. He was given full trust over Potiphar's house, but then falsely accused and thrown into prison. There he wallows for 2 years and is taken out and very quickly becomes Pharaoh's most trusted advisor and commander. Joseph, more than anyone, understands what it means to have cycles in our lives and quick reversals, what it means to have your fate change in an instant, often completely out of your control. He knows what it means to have abundance and then scarcity, to have darkness and then light. And these experiences help him understand how to appreciate the good when he's in it and to store up that abundance for times when he will inevitably feel hardship. So these dramatic cycles enabled Joseph not only to interpret the Pharaoh's strange dream of 7 fat cows at the Nile being eaten up by 7 emaciated cows, but his experience helped him give Pharaoh a solution. Because you see, Joseph understands that Pharaoh's dream means that Egypt will have 7 years of abundance of food, followed by 7 years of famine. But drawing on his experience, he's able to make a plan of action for the Pharaoh, which is save up food in the time of plenty for those years when we will have very little. Now, this might seem like a very obvious strategy to most of us who've heard this story before or who are also accustomed to cycles in our own lives, but it was not obvious to the Pharaoh, a man and ruler who only knew abundance. Joseph knew inherently the necessity for some self-discipline, sacrifice, and delayed gratification in times of abundance so that you can prepare for times of scarcity. Joseph had earned that wisdom and known in the times of plenty that we can only hope that we can come back from plenty to famine, and then we hope back to plenty again. Dina Weiss from Machon Hadar offered a beautiful teaching that explains that this important wisdom that Joseph offers is the essence of his message for us today. And she does so by pointing to an often overlooked word in this portion. When Joseph's brothers first plotted to kill him, he was thrown into a bore, which we translate as a pit. And later, when Pharaoh frees him from the dungeon where he was wrongly imprisoned, the Hebrew word used again here was bore. Joseph understands that his life trajectory is one of being in and out of the pits. Every dark place and every dark chapter in his life is a bore, a pit. But importantly, every bore also leads to freedom. Because you see, a bore in Hebrew is not literally a pit, nor is it a prison. It is literally a cistern, which is a very important and very intentional word. A cistern is a very dark hole, but it's different than a pit. A cistern is a means for weathering the cycles of nature and of life. Because there are many ways that you can get water. You can dig a well and get water that comes from underground. You can go to a river and make a source or a channel of water from that river. You can sit around and just pray for some rain, or you can dig a cistern and collect and save water in times of abundance for the inevitable times of drought. It takes faith and courage to build a cistern because it comes with no guarantees, and it requires hope and also some self-sacrifice and some discipline. The cistern is a perfect expression of Joseph's philosophy for surviving the vicissitudes of life. Be patient, save up during your abundance, accumulate blessings, and then you will have enough when you're in a time of need. What would it mean for us to develop our cistern mentality? I've been feeling recently in the air a heaviness in the darkness of these days. It's not just the physical darkness outside. It's something I think many of us are feeling inside. It feels a little bit like we're in the bore, in the pit. But if we're in a cistern, how might we behave differently? How can we keep faith that we will not stay in this dark place forever, but also know that a bore leads to our freedom? Well, in this dark time, we are told to light lights. We did so at the beginning of our service for the festival of Hanukkah and also Shabbat. And we're reminded that even when you're in a pit and there is no natural sunlight, that we have agency. We're able to light a light. And Joseph, when he was imprisoned in that bore and he was without hope, he could have turned inward and sulked and despaired. But instead, he turned to those who were around him and he performed acts of chesed for a baker and a cupbearer. He trusted that those lights of kindness that he sowed, even in a dark place, would, like water in a cistern, be something that could be drawn upon in the future. And it was those very acts of kindness that brought him freedom and a return to good fortune. To nurture light in times of scarcity with faith that soon there will be much more light is an act of faith. This light of faith has also sustained our people from the time of Joseph to the Maccabees to today. May we preserve this light and these blessings to help us thrive through the many cycles and reversals and challenges of our lives. Amen.